welcome back. And I'm gonna keep my mask on just because people clearly don't understand, social distancing. Anyways, normally when I paint, I look at a drawing, but because I'm recording on my phone, I can't look at a drawing. So I have no idea what I'm gonna paint. I'm going to be a rising sophomore at Columbia, and I thought I wanted to major in computer science, and I kind of do. I'm just intimidated by the fact that everything's going to be remote now. I enjoyed my first year at Columbia. Yes and no. I started my time there August for Unsop Week, which may not happen this year, which I heard is going to happen virtually. I don't know how that's going to go. I enjoyed my first year. I think that I would have enjoyed it a lot more had I been more confident in myself from the start. It's a new space. It's intimidating. It's scary. But you'll be fine. So for me, I had some friends who stayed in the city, but I feel like I depended too much on my friends.
To say in the previous clip is that if you go to a college, especially if it's in an area that you grew up in, so for me, I grew up in New York City and I went to high school there, so a lot of the times I had friends who weren't going to Columbia but were still going to schools in the city, and it was great because I knew that I could have them as a support system. But because I knew that, it also kind of prevented me from making friends within my own school. And I think it's kind of dangerous because then you become dependent on people and you kind of don't feel the need to make new friends. So I just want to encourage you that if that is your situation, to not alienate yourself from your high school friends, but definitely finding that balance where you can find and create your own community and support system in your own bubble within your school, because I think that's very important, especially if they can direct you to resources on campus that they may know that you don't, and vice versa. So yeah,
try to find a healthy balance that is one where you're not too dependent on your high school friends and you're not also ignoring them, if that makes any sense. I think for me, that's the one thing I struggled with the most my first year. It was finding that balance between making time to make new friends and feeling the need to make new friends than just having comfort in my old friendships. I was really scared to start school, especially at Columbia, just because when I was dorming, and I don't really talk about my roommate experience that much. I was in a suite with people who did not have the same socioeconomic background as me, and in some cases that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, right? But when you're living with someone who has completely different lifestyles and habits than you, it can sometimes make you uncomfortable. I feel like me and my suite mates in general didn't really make space to have those conversations about the uncomfort. And I think that also came from my part, where it's I was the one that was feeling uncomfortable because I was the one that felt the most secluded in that aspect. I'm not ashamed of my socioeconomic status. It's more of I can't really live the same way some of these people at Columbia be living, and that's okay. So I think I learned that I just need to set my boundaries. I think that was the biggest thing I learned in college, learning boundaries. I talked to my roommate about things that were bothering me until things got really, really bad, to the point where I didn't want to live in my own suite. Another story time about my suite mates. This one time where some girl got my number without my consent and asked me essentially to move from a certain housing building, to another building. I feel uncomfortable because no one communicated with me that was going to happen for my actual suite, right? So it was already, I felt alienated in the sense that they were giving someone their number to reach out to have me move out the suite. So again, you're in college, communicate your boundaries, do it. It's not worth your mental health to be dealing with that. Comfortable with doing this in my suite, but once you do this is out of line type of thing. So for example, I remember one time I came into my room and I had noticed that my things were being used by people that I did not even talk to, and that's when I had to have the conversation. I was I don't let my friends touch your stuff, and you shouldn't let your friends touch mine.
I want to explain myself, and that's not the purpose of this clip. But rather, if you're watching this video and you're why did that bother you so much? I feel that's a problem, so we should probably talk about it. It's just the fact that you shouldn't be touching other people's stuff, especially if the space is not your designated space. For instance, my roommate didn't even touch my stuff, bro. So for someone who is not my friend or even living in my space to touch my stuff without my permission it's a sense of entitlement that really bothered me, especially the fact this particular person didn't always acknowledge me in my own space. So for someone to feel they can use my stuff and sit in my desk but not even acknowledge me as a person was very problematic to me. Also the sense that people that I was cool with, my friends, would still ask for permission to do certain things in my space because that's just what you do. So just respect people's spaces, be mindful of the spaces you're taking up, and yeah.
Something I learned my first year and has impacted the way I act now and think is that communication is so important. Be upfront, communicate your feelings. Because of college, I learned that it's important to communicate in general, because you're gonna have to stand up for yourself when it comes to financial aid. You're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to confront teachers when they mess up, when they say some out of pocket shit, or you're gonna have to confront your own classmates in front of a group because you'll be like, that was not cool. Like, I learned that Columbia needs me more, or just as much as I need their name. No longer intimidated by that institution. I think I've learned to navigate it, and you will too. You will learn to navigate Columbia or whatever college you end up going to. My first year video, if you haven't seen that, I talked about like self-advocacy, and that's just so real, especially in college, because it goes beyond. I think I mentioned financial aid, I mentioned in that video, but it goes beyond that. It's beyond the institution. It's going to be within your own circles.
Where you going?
A mango. Mango's coming out fire. Those are my favorite fruit. Also, another problem is being okay with letting things go. Semester is your hardest semester. That's the one thing I want to tell you. So I really feel bad that this one is going to be remote for some folks, or it's going to be isolating. So honestly, like, make community in any way that you can. First semester, at least from what I've heard on Twitter and my experience, that one's the worst semester because it's all new. And I think it's wild that even for me, I had a hard time because I was in New York. So you're like, you didn't move out of the state, so why was it so hard? It's just weird because you're growing up, you're learning things, but like, don't be too hard on yourself. Forgive yourself for things that you do. Be patient with yourself. You outgrow people. That's my point. You outgrow people and they outgrow you. So don't be too butthurt if someone that you thought was gonna be your BFF for life isn't anymore. Like, I personally noticed in a lot of my friendships that people didn't really have a healthy relationship with food in college, which kind of sucks. People were like, oh my god, this is my first meal. Like, that's not cool. And I think I did a good job. That's one of the things I'm proud of. I did a good job of genuinely trying to feed my body and take care of my body in ways that I knew how. And like, I had a scheduled eating. Like, people knew 6:30 I was eating dinner, which was funny because people made fun of me because, again, not everybody eats at that time, and I didn't used to eat that time. But like I said, college changes people. Biggest things is to make sure that you make time for yourself to eat. Prioritize that. You need to refuel your body. Your body is a temple. It's like this group of people who don't know how to respect my space, and I'm also getting hungry, so I'm gonna head out. I didn't finish my mango. My brother drew my age. Thanks, bro. I'll see you guys in my next video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe. Sorry this video was a little boring. I needed a little sit down video because the last video, my plus size lookbook, if y'all haven't checked that out, took so much editing. Even though it's such a short video, it took so much editing. So please blow that up, and I'll see you guys in mi próximo, in my next video. I know what it is. I know what my next video is gonna be. Y'all gonna be excited. I know y'all are, but I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta stay tuned. All right, bye y'all.